Hi there, Dave here with the first video about our second version of the flight log program. And so we showed the user what we built so far and they were happy. And so they said, well, you have the capability, you told me, to be able to add new sites. So why don't you give me a menu that looks like this where I can choose what I want to do? I can run the site report, or I can add flight information, or I can add sites, or I can display stuff. And that sounds reasonable. And they said, oh yeah, and then after you do the menu for me, what I'd like to do is to have you be able to do this report here where you show me the shortest and the longest flights from a place. Oh, and I think about that for a second and say, well, that's a problem. But we'll deal with that in the next video. This video, we're going to deal with just making this menu work and then plugging the code that we built already in this guy into this menu structure. So we've got all the capability. We've got to build this menu and then stick the capability that's in here into the new version, and that'll be over here. So let's see how we implement the menu. Right here, this just runs the menu. And you can run it yourselves. I'm not going to take the time here, but here's an array with the menu items. And then here's main. Main is very simple. It still is just fine. It says, display the menu item, ask what the user wants to do. Assuming that they didn't say big X or little x, so if it's not X, then go ahead and do what it says to do inside the while loop. Otherwise, do what's next, which is nothing, which means we're done. And so display menu items is right here. I'm passing in menu items, which is the global array. I'm passing it into display menus. So it's known as items coming in here. And all I do is I go through the array and print each one. Well, you might say to yourself, why am I passing in the items when it's a global and I could just use them globally? The reason is because, well, at some point I might want to have a different menu. The menu may look different depending on where I am. And therefore, I could pass a different array with different menu items in it, right, into this guy and it would display that. So here I've got a general use display of any array that's passed in. It's just going to print what's ever in that array, right? So it's more use than using the fact that I know that these are there and can be used globally. That doesn't help me. It helps me by being able to pass anything in to generalize the code. So there we go, just two procedures, and there's our execution of main, and you can play with that. But I took this code then, just like we did in class, and I said, okay, let's go ahead and add to it the code that we already built here. And so that's what I did over here. So in this, the first version of our second flight log, all it does is it produces the menu and does what it did before. So that means it does not implement that second report. We're going to have to do a lot of changes in order to make it work, that second report. We'll do that in class, and we'll do a video about that next. But this video just deals with the incorporation of the menu. So here's the menu. And so over in the menu here, it said where it was going to do stuff. It just said this is where we do something. Well, the something we're going to do is going to be to analyze what to do. So once we display what to do at the beginning, then we say as long as it's not little x or big X, do this. And this is what we're going to do, something. Well, in the real thing, what we're going to do is we're going to ask, well, what did the user ask us to do? And if he said 1, then display all sites. If he said 2, then add new sites. That's the same add new site. That is the same code that we called add site manually over here. You see where it said add site manually. That's what we called it before. And I just renamed these things. I didn't change their functionality at all. For instance, the report. Here's run site report. Yeah, that's really nice. If you hit a 4, it says run site report because the menu says that item 4 is run site report. So it's really nice to call it the same thing. But run site report is in fact just the same old guy that we used to know over here as I think it's called display output down at the bottom. There it is. There's display output. Well, display output's a fine name for this because all we do is that's the only output we display, but it's only one report of 2 over here. So when we bring the code over to here, we don't call it that. We can call it, run site report. Okay, so notice that what we do in main then is main's job is to provide the menu to the user, ask what the user wants to do. Assuming that they want to do something, figure out what they want to do and go do that. When we're done doing that, it comes down to here and displays the menu again and asks the user what they want to do again. So as long as they don't enter X, they're going to go through and do this routine again and figure out if it's a 1, do this, a 2, do this, if it's a 3, do this. So run site report is number 4. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Where would that be? Well, it should be right below. And there's all the code. So here is all the code to handle those items. They're in order. Here's the code to handle item. If you hit a 1, this is what you do. If you hit a 2, this is what you do. If you hit a 3, this is what you do. If you hit a 4, this is what you do. So it's all logical. This is all code that we wrote before, but now it's structured so it's organized along the lines of the menu, and that makes it easy for us to maintain and find the code. So after we've got all the modules taken care of, then I have what I call my support modules. So notice that there is no code for item 5 because I haven't written that yet. So the only ones that I have are 1 through 4. And then we'll write 5 in class. And then below are all of what I call the support modules. So in the bottom go all the modules that one of these other guys used to help them do their thing. And so there's add sites automatically. Where is that used? Well, we would do that right at the beginning. So it should be up in main. So if we look up at main, there's add sites automatically right after we define the those arrays, which we're going to get rid of in the next version. So there you go. Take care.